Welcome to Minimum Effort Flattmeister. Hi guys, I'm sorry for having not uploaded in a long time. But this article caught my eye, as does every other article, on Kotaku, right? Kotaku is supposed to be a game site that tells you about games coming out, indie developers, AAA. It's interesting, this article, because I suggested this idea as it was on our first episode of the Flat Pack, the pushing the boundaries. Should we push boundaries in games with stories, themes, and gameplay mechanics, things like that? Well, there's a game on Steam which is pretty much a asset, pre-purchased asset, or an asset flip is what they call it. On Steam, it's called Active Shooter. It's about a mass shooting, it's a school shooting, and the unreleased game describes on the store page, it describes it as a dynamic SWAT simulator in which you play as the shooter, a SWAT team member trying to neutralise them, or a civilian, presumably trying to run away, escape from the school, or wherever other locations the game takes place. Its trailer depicts a player running down school halls and through classrooms, indiscriminately murdering teachers until a SWAT team shows up. Complaints about the game have been fierce, and yesterday the person behind it said they'll probably remove the option to play as the mass shooter. I mean, the timing's not right, especially after there's been a couple of shootings recently. But apparently, almost as soon as the game went up on the store listing, Steam users took to the game forums to voice their distaste. Like I said, timing. But I respect the creator should, and this is where it shows the complete hypocrisy of gamers, of certain individuals, and game journalists. Because this article really comes across as quite biased, right? I didn't even see who... Nathan Grayson, yeah, there you go. So, here's a couple of comments from some of these users on Steam. They went, I love offensive humour as much as the next guy, but you're dense as hell if you can't see why a pay-to-play school shooting simulator game might be taking it a step too far. Report this game, said someone else. The game's Steam forums are dominated by threads calling for the developer to reconsider and for Valve to do something about the game, as well as people criticising Valve for the fact that it gives the boot to many games containing nudity. Yeah, because there was the waifu and anime purge, waifu genocide, while anti-gun violence charity Infer Trust has called for Valve to remove Active Shooter from Steam altogether. That's it, yeah, censor someone. It is horrendous, a spokeswoman told the BBC. Why would anyone think it's a good idea to market something violent like that and be completely insensitive to the deaths of so many children? Like I said, our first episode of the Flat Pack show, we discussed about the pushing the boundaries, but also developers should, or any creator of any medium, should approach a sensitive theme with respect. Treat the subject with respect. This isn't the first time Steam has been criticised for school shooting related content. There was apparently, before a quiet crackdown from Valve that took place earlier this year, Steam reportedly played host to hundreds of user-made groups that glorified school shooters. Kotaku reached out to Valve about Active Shooter, but has yet to hear back. Yeah, because the guy doesn't want you taking his words out of context, or... This guy's probably just some straight out of college or uni, and having done a games development course or degree, and he's like, oh well, I'm gonna try this idea. In response to all this, Active Shooter's developer... Oh, is this like an update? I don't know, it doesn't say this is an update. In response to all this, Active Shooter developer released a statement. First of all, yeah, exactly, so he's made a statement himself then, rather than answer the questions from Kotaku. First of all, this game does not promote any sort of violence, especially any sort of mass shooting, they wrote in a post on Steam. Noting that the game was originally just going to be about SWAT teams, but then they decided to make shooters and civilians playable as well. I actually appreciate that sort of game aspect, that you can play as multiple characters. While I can see people's anger and why this might be a bad idea for the game, I still feel like this topic should be left alone, they continued. As I mentioned in Steam discussion forums, there are games like Hatred, which is that sort of black and white sort of twin stick isometric shooter, like the guy in the trench coat, and that got pulled from Steam, and then after backlash, people going, GTA 5 anyone? Witcher 3 anyone? All the sort of big AAA games, and they're like, yeah. And Gabe Newell came in and went, yeah, we're going to reinstate that. We'll put it back on the on Steam. Postal, just like a first-person shooter. You can pee on people. You can stick your gun up a cat's bum and use it as a silencer. The game is quite sort of fourth wall breaking. I've not really played it, but it's quite like over the top. I mean, Uwe Boll bloody made a game. Didn't he make like a movie based off the game? And Carmageddon, which is that sort of killing people in cars. There are even worse compared to active shooter and literally focus on mass shootings and killings of people. Again, like I said, GTA series. They added that they will more likely revert the shooter character to being unplayable before the game's 6th of June release date, pending a response from Valve. And of course, these comments are completely... People are so hypocritical, right? I mean, this top one, Scott the Brit. You have to be pretty fucked up in the head to make a game like this and actually try to make a profit from something that has caused misery to countless families. Well, you're pretty much like, agreeing with Jack Thompson there, like, all those shootings in the past, and when Jack Thompson tried to sue Rockstar for GTA because GTA was the latest game to blame of latest shootings. GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas has inspired these people to go on mass shootings. So you could say that Rockstar, they're fucked up to make a game about playing as a criminal and profit from the misery of families of people that got killed by criminals who Jack Thompson tried to say, they were inspired by GTA. You could say about Red Dead Redemption. What about all the ancestors? What about people that were in the Wild Wild West, and what about those... Rockstar is trying to make a profit off of the misery of what the people in the Wild Wild West experienced, and what about their modern day descendants? What about their misery? They wouldn't have any misery, like, that was my ancestor from however many 100 years ago. I'm trying to remember how many years ago that was, because a couple of 100 years. Again, like, there's some people that's saying, this sounds kind of biased to me. I would actually like more variance in games instead of mostly having the objective of being the good guy, to avoid criticism. That's why I said I want to have variation in game. That's really cool to play as the bad guy. But this Frisch guy also says, want to know what else is fucked up? War, murder and gore. Doesn't stop everyone but a tiny minority from even batting an eyelid. I mean, like Kotaku and Polygon, they're going, oh yes, Battlefield 5. Oh yeah, Battlefield 5, how exciting, all these game features. You could apply Scott the Brit's comment to that. You have to be pretty fucked up in the head to make a game like this and actually try to make a profit from something that has caused misery to countless families. World War II. Scott the Brit, you're very hypocritical. You're not very consistent in your logic. Very flawed logic. So I just realised my fan was on. I was like, probably going to be really noisy in the first half of the video there. I mean, there's worse game, like there's Japanese, like we said in the first episode of the Flat Pack show, I named like there was this Japanese game called Rape Play. Really, there's worse stuff in games and movies and TV have covered more worst thing. I mean, wasn't there a school shooting movie? It starred Ezra Miller, and I've not watched it yet. Was there something about Kevin, or we need to talk about Kevin? And you find out, yeah, spoilers by the way. I found out basically that the film shows the mother and her son since he was born. Like, she's had struggled to connect with her son, and then you find out that he's done something awful. It sort of goes throughout his life, apparently, and yeah, he's shot up a school basically. That's the twist at the end of the movie or something, that he's shot up a school, and that the mother didn't realise what was going on. But then Scott the Brit tries to respond to this Frisch guy, saying there's nothing biased about it. War games, movies, etc. generally have stories behind them to support the impact of what you witness. This is just a shit asset flip like every other shit asset flip before it. But yeah, there's this back and forth between these guys. But yeah, Frisch makes a good point. In GTA, you can kill a prostitute, which is not story related, or you can torture a guy in the story mode. You can do some really messed up stuff. Yeah, what about people who purposefully kill their own Sims? Yeah, build a swimming pool and then remove the steps so they can't get out. They go, ah! Or put a sofa right next to the fireplace. Gemma, I know what you do. Sims. Do we judge those people as psychopaths? I think my wife might be a psychopath. She kills Sims. And also, a lot of people, like he says, I'd argue that a significant number of people who skip the story in war games purely play the game for the multiplayer. Yeah, especially like Black Ops 4 has no story. But yeah, he makes a good point here, saying the way I see it is that people just want to find excuses for accepted media, but criticise stuff like this just because they've not be because they're not they haven't been desensitized like other violence. A bit of a grammar mistake there in his comment. Personally, I think it should be allowed because freedom of expression, exactly, and I completely agree. This, while in poor taste and depending on like how the game plays and what content is in the game, is hard to judge. You know, things can be done tastefully, or if this is in poor taste, people generally shouldn't buy it because they may not find it tasteful. Fair enough. And as you say, it seems like a shit asset flip. A lot of people seem to supposedly oppose censorship, but for some reason they have no problem with opinions or content being removed if it's something they disagree with. This comment just is on point. Frisch, you're on point, man. I like other people saying, it's just a game. What is this Scott the Brit talking about, man? Like someone saying about like Japanese porn games, and Steam can't both back down on banning censoring games they and others don't like the Japanese porn games, and then take action against this. Both are horrible, but you can't have a separate rules depending on genre. And this Scott the Brit is going, well, they can. One is glorifying fictional pornography, the other is glorifying actual real life events, which is horseshit. Well, unless the school in this game, active shooter, is called Sandy Hook Primary School or whichever, or Parkland High or whatever. That's complete horseshit. You could say it's glorifying fictional violence. It's a fictional event. It's funny that people are like, lap up the latest Call of Duty or Battlefield in which, based on historical accuracy, thousands and thousands of men died in war. And yet people lap up those games and enjoy killing. I don't mind playing, to be biased about it. I enjoy playing first-person shooter games because I know it's not real. It's fictional. It's a game. I still have respect for the men that served in World War II in the military. But I can still enjoy a game or a movie or whichever. Seriously, this Scott the Brit guy seems there's people saying, yeah, there's worse things you can do. World War Two, like the infamous airport scene in Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty. He says, Scott the Brit goes, World War games show our history. Some of them are fairly accurate, others not so much. Yeah, like Battlefield 5. Cough. But they do touch on the subject of war and the events that happen during wars. Shooting your classmates with weapons that should be illegal, which is he saying what? Weapons that should be illegal, or a game in which you shoot your classmates with weapons? I think he's talking about weapons, which again is something that's very controversial at the moment, given how frequent these attacks are happening. Isn't remotely the same thing in any way, shape or form. It's glorifying shooting people in a school, which is very real at the moment. As for the airport scene in COD, that's an act of terrorism. Plenty of other things portray acts of terrorism too. There's real life terrorist attacks, and it's fine to have a terrorist attack scene in a game or a movie. Right, so should we make a game about 9/11 then? Where you play as the... or you could do it like a multiplayer, like all the people are the passengers on, and the terrorists aboard the airplane, and the captain. You got to try and barge through all the passengers. Hello Akbar! And try and stab your way through. That's being really edgy. That's being really shitty. But yeah, stab your way to the cockpit and then crash the plane into the... Oh god. Oh my god. Hey look, it happened in 2001, so it's fine to joke about it. But like, other people are bringing up that point, you know, we should be able to make a game about that then. But I want to hear what you guys think of this. Should this game be allowed to exist, or should it not? Highly recommend you go back and watch the Flat Pack show, especially that first episode, Pushing the Boundaries, with Switchpoint, Nerd Waffle and Crumple Point, and myself. That's every Tuesday, 11 PM GMT, which is about 7 PM Eastern. You know, tune in. We want suggestions of topics that people want to hear us talk about as well and discuss. We're always looking for people to get in contact. Yeah, I highly recommend you check out that episode, that first episode that we did of our podcast. Like, this is so... They're so hypocritical. The game journalists and these gamers in the... I mean, people are entitled to their opinions, but them saying, no, it shouldn't be allowed and Steam should ban it. Ugh. God. Anyway, I've been Flattmeister. I'll catch you in the next video. Do that like, subscribe, bell notification stuff that you know what to do. I'm on 99 subscribers. Come on, one more and I can reach 100. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.